Samiran Chakravarti, then Regional Head Research India at StanChart Bank, joins us on the show. Samiran, hi. Firstly, let's start off with the Fed meet. What's expected, and do you think tapering this month itself is a foregone conclusion?
Our own view is that there will be a light tapering starting September. That's about $10 billion and primarily focused towards the treasuries. In per se, this is probably already in the market price and should not make too much of a difference. I think the two factors which are now dominating the market's mind, one is what will be the Fed's projection for next year? Would that be revised significantly? And second is who is going to sit on that Bernanke's chair come next year? Given that Summers has withdrawn from the race, would there be a new candidate emerging to challenge Yellen? I think both these factors will be more important or dominant rather than just a $10 billion of light tapering.
So do you think 18th September, which is Wednesday, that Fed event will be more like a no event?
That's what we are veering to, the idea that this is probably very much into market price, and unless we see this tapering number to be very, very different from what we are expecting, so in excess of 20 billion or no tapering at all, unless we see some kind of a scenario like that, this can turn out to be a no event.
Rupee is at 62.5 now. Do you think worst of the rupee adjustment is over? Has rupee stabilized, or currently rupee is only bouncing back in sync with other emerging market currencies?
Well, two factors are probably important, actually three. One is what you mentioned about the global markets being somewhat better. We are seeing almost all the currencies appreciating against dollar. The second is that probably there is now a perception that the current account deficit and the funding of that deficit problem is now lower for India with this NRI scheme being announced. So that's providing some kind of comfort to the market. And third is there is an expectation from the new RBI governor that he will change things in a more meaningful way going forward, and that's providing also some relief to the INR markets.
What can the governor do? Because he pretty much has announced all major policy announcements, whether it is issuance of the new NRI bond or whether it is, opening up a new swap window.
True. A lot of this has been announced. It's now that we're seeing some kind of effect of these announcements passing through the markets with the hope that there will be focus on not just market-oriented policies, but also probably more openness for the capital account, more financial sector reforms as well. And monetary policy will not just be focused on just the interest rate setting part of it and then become much more broad-based. I think that's where the expectation lies, the hope lies.
So what's the kind of commentary that you are expecting, Samiran, from Raghuram Rajan? Do you think he's likely to take a hawkish stance and leave the interest rates unchanged, or do you think he's only going to make up his mind post seeing what the Fed does?
Definitely the Fed issue is there, and the governor is likely to consider that before taking a final call on these issues. Our own view is that we probably won't see too much changes in the policy rates because the macro situation has not changed very, very substantially. Well, since these measures were announced, we have been told repeatedly that these are temporary measures. So there's possibly the need to convince the markets that actually the measures are temporary. So in that sense, some of the relatively smaller ones might be withdrawn or tapered, like the CRR requirement, daily CRR requirement of 99% might be moderated a bit, or the LAF window, the 0.5% of NDTL can be increased a bit. These will not materially change the short-term interest rate structure, but it will give the hope that going forward these measures will be withdrawn. But the key question really is that to what extent the governor is going to show that inflation is his primary objective, and what inflation measure he is looking at, whether it's WPI or CPI, that will give a sense of where the long end of the curve is going to be, and that's going to be very, very important.
Samiran, really appreciate your time and thank you for your valuable insights. It's always a pleasure to have you on ET Now.